Most welcome to the second video about overprotection. We had the first game with Steinitz and versus Weiss. So this was a kind of initiation to you about the concept and a little bit how it can take place. This one will be with Aaron Nimzowitsch as white against Georg Salwe as black from Karlsbad 1911. Before we continue, you who want to read the description where the game and the marks or when the timestamps of the video is shown, if you use a phone you can probably click on the name of the video and then I think the description would open nicely, hopefully. If you use computer, depending on what web browser you're using, you should click on more or show more, then it would appear for you. I don't want to give a lengthy explanation. It's better that you try it out, and if you don't find it, consult someone who is more knowledgeable than me. So I have briefly checked the comments that Aaron Nimzowitsch wrote himself in his book Mein System from 1925 in German and My System from 1929, and that is one of the real milestones in chess theory. I would say one of the most influential books in the 20th chess century. So without further ado, we start. We played Qe4. Nimzowitsch is white here, and I will try to be better on moving before I start commenting the move. I made that mistake, was a little slow to move the pieces in the same speed as I spoke in the last video. I try to improve. Black plays Qe6. White plays delta 4, the most common continuation. Black replies with delta 5. Here we have a number of options for white. White can play knight to Charlie 3, knight to delta 2. Even Echo takes delta 5 is possible. But the move that Nimzowitsch chose is also one of the absolute best one according to modern engines as well. So it is Qe5. White has now taken a bit more space in the center. That means white has crossed the demarcation line, if I would say so, between white and black territory. So white has what is called the space advantage, now represented by the pawn on Qe5. Black takes the chance to attack the basis of the white pawn center. That means the pawn on delta 4 by playing Charlie 5. Here Nimzowitsch experimented a lot. We will see in the future game he actually played queen to golf 4 here. And other interesting possibilities for white would be knight to foxtrot 3, which I myself employed in the second last round of the World Championship for Visually Impaired in 1990 against, I think his name was Vladimir Berlinsky. Berlinsky, I know for sure. I think it was Vladimir. I think I will actually show that game later on. If you play the knight to foxtrot 3 or queen to golf 4, the idea is that you don't defend the d4 square with a pawn. You can instead try to occupy the square with a piece later on. But yeah, that is a variation on the topic that we are studying. But we now go for the classical Charlie 3, Charlie 2 to Charlie 3. So if black now takes on delta 4, white can recapture with the pawn, maintaining the support of the Qe5 pawn. Black plays knight to Charlie 6, attacking the pawn on delta 4 even more, and white protects with his knight, knight foxtrot 3. Knight to foxtrot 3. And this is one of the standard positions in modern chess theory or the French defense still. Here we have different options. The most common are either bishop to delta 7, which is a very interesting move, bishop to delta 7. But even more common, I would say, is the move that is played in the game. That is queen to bravo 6. Queen to bravo 6. That move, we see that black puts more pressure on delta 4. And now white has a number of options again. Pawn to alpha 3 is an interesting move, recommended by Anish Giri in one of his chessable courses recently. Another move is bishop to echo 2, recommended by Kamil Plishta, also on Chessable. But the option that Nimzowitsch employed is also quite topical right now, although for some decades it remained a sideline. White plays bishop to delta 3. Bishop to delta 3. Why it has suffered from a bit of bad reputation is that white now puts the bishop in front of the queen, so that the support for the delta 4 pawn is not as strong as it was before. At the same time, the bishop is on a more active square here, and sometimes, as we will see in some of the latter games, white often can sacrifice the pawn on delta 4, and then it is actually an achievement that the bishop is on an advantage, that the bishop is on delta 3. Here, black, according to modern chess theory, should play Charlie takes delta 4. We will come back to that in future videos, but here black goes for a bit erroneous move, and that is bishop to delta 7. I have given question mark, exclamation mark. Maybe it could even be question mark only. So it's dubious move, maybe even bad. Why then is it so bad? That is actually spotted perfectly by Aron Nimzowitsch, and his concept to handle the position is very good and the best according to modern engines as well. And it is a bit surprising when I have played this position with the bishop to delta 3 on blitz and rapid games on VChess, for example. Many players commit the mistake playing bishop to delta 7, and then they have to face the next move was delta captures on Charlie 5. Delta captures on Charlie 5. And black captures with the bishop on Charlie 5. Attacks the pawn on foxtrot 2. And white plays castles kingside. And here I think it is proper to have the first timestamp. So, many persons would have abstained from capturing on Charlie 5 as Nimzowitsch did, because it weakens the pawn on echo 5. The classical theory is that you should try to control the center with the pawns. With Nimzowitsch we have another concept, that is you can also control the center with the pieces. And now it will be a fight about controlling the delta 4 square. If white can control it, then it's not that important that you don't have only one pawn in the center. But black here tries to play very principled according to the chess theory of 1911, and even for many weaker players of today. He thinks that it is such a big achievement to get rid of the Echo5 pawn that he takes on more weaknesses and opens the position a bit, although his pieces are not perfectly placed for that. The best move that black should have played here is Alpha 5, because he should hinder white from controlling more dark squares with his pawns. So white played, or black played Foxtrot 6. I have given it a question mark. Maybe that could be question mark, exclamation mark. The position is worse for black, according to Stockfish 16.1. If black had played Alpha 5, white would have an advantage of 0.4 pawns, whereas after Foxtrot 6 instead, it goes up to, I think, 0.9 pawns instead. So it's quite a weakening move, and it is risky to try to open the center, to open the position before your king is in safety. As a rule of thumb, you should not do it. But here we have another reason also why it was bad. It allows white to take more space, control more important dark squares by playing Bravo 4. That is an exclamation mark, I would say. Bravo 4, it is not absolutely not a self-evident move to play. Now the pawn on Charlie 3 is backward. It is weakest, no other pawn that defends him. One can imagine that black would pile up in the future with pressure along the C file, and then the Charlie 3 pawn would be a deplorable person, so to say. But white has to go for the initiative, and as long as white keeps the initiative and hinders black from exploiting the weakness of Charlie 3, then the advantage of having control of Charlie 5, and if you control Charlie 5 and chases away the bishop from Charlie 5, then that increases your control of Delta 4 as well. So that is the idea. It looks so obvious when you already have the solution, but in 1911 that was far from obvious, and it wouldn't be obvious to many players even today. Black plays bishop to Echo 7. White now continues with overprotection, and that is also how Nimzowitsch comments his following moves when he plays bishop to Foxtrot 4, overprotecting the Echo 5 square. So now we know approximately what white will try to do, pile up protections of the Echo 5 and then use that as a rampage, launching a kingside attack. Black plays Foxtrot takes Echo 5. Modern chess engines would suggest moves like knight to Hotel 6 instead, and keeping white's advantage to a minimum. Relatively still clearly better for white. But it also looks risky to play knight to Hotel 6 here. It is not weird that black chooses Foxtrot takes Echo 5. White recaptures with the knight, knight takes Echo 5, and black also captures on Echo 5, knight takes Echo 5. And white continues with bishop takes echo 5. Threatens the pawn on Golf 7. And we can see here that if black, for example, would have played bishop to foxtrot 6 here to swap off even the dark squared bishop on echo 5, white has a tactical trick. So you can pause the video for a little while to think of what you would have played. White could have played queen to hotel 5 check. And if black then would have played golf 6, you can capture. Bishop takes golf 6 check. Hotel takes golf 6. Queen takes golf 6 check, threatening also the bishop on foxtrot 6. So it is natural to play king echo 7, but then white regains the sacrifice piece by bishop takes foxtrot 6, knight takes foxtrot 6, queen golf 7 check. And then the king has to move and white can capture the knight on foxtrot 6, resulting in a 2 pawns advantage and an exposed black king. It might be difficult to follow this in your mind, but you can move it on the board and then go back. It's better than I move the pieces on the screen and have a lot of parentheses in the PGM file. So work it out for yourself. After bishop, foxtrot 6, queen to hotel 5, you can have a look at it. So after bishop takes echo 5, black played knight foxtrot 6. So let me put in another mark here. So the position is far from clear for most eyes, including my own. But the advantage is already significant, maybe even decisive. For a chess Indian, I would say it would be decisive. What white has to do now is to continue moving the pieces so that they can protect echo 5. If you have more protection than needed, so to say, then you can even move the piece from echo 5, let other pieces be there, or even putting pressure on the echo file. That is what will take place in the game. White plays knight delta 2, planning to place the knight on foxtrot 3, of course. Black castles kingside, and white goes on with knight foxtrot 3 according to plan. Knight foxtrot 3. So we can see also that this very harmonious position of the white pieces it makes it possible for white even to give protection to the weak pawn on Charlie 3. And in such positions that we have right here, an idea often is to protect the pawn on Bravo 4 with Alpha 3, and in the future open the position even more by advancing the pawn to Charlie 4. That is a theme we will see, and that will be a main topic of our final discussion of this overprotection thematic series. This is not what we will see in this game, but that is something to keep in mind. So black goes on playing bishop to delta 6. Here white should be careful not moving the bishop from Echo5 to Delta 4, which could have been a natural move. But then black, as Nimzowitsch points out, can play queen to Charlie 7 and follow up with knight Golf 4 and free his position by eventually pushing Echo 6 to Echo 5. So white wants to control Echo 5 in order that the black pawn cannot move forward. And you see that the Echo 6 pawn is also blocking the bishop on Delta 7. It is not only that the Echo 6 pawn is weak, it is also making the bishop on Delta 7 worse. On the other hand, if black would be able to advance Echo 5, then the strategy of Nimzowitsch to swap off his pawns on Delta 4 and Echo 5 for the pawns on Charlie 5 and Foxtrot 6 would have been proven wrong. So it's very important now that white doesn't play bishop Delta 4, but continues systematically to support the Echo 5 square by playing queen to Echo 2, queen to Echo 2. Thus giving enough shelter. And we can see also a theme that we remember from Steinitz game, that soon the rook also will come from alpha 1 to Echo 1. Of course, Nimzowitsch had studied the game Steinitz Weiss that we saw in the prior video. Black goes on to place rook from alpha to Charlie 8. Rook alpha to Charlie 8. That is a good move, of course, because it puts pressure on Charlie 3, thus now threatening to swap off the bishop on Echo 5, and if white would take recapture with the knight, then Charlie 3 would be hanging. So now it is time to move the piece from Echo 5. White plays bishop Delta 4. Bishop to Delta 4. Attacking the queen, and it is more or less the same position as we had in the comment if white had played bishop Delta 4 before, but the difference is that white now already has a queen on Echo 2. So black now plays queen to Charlie 7, maybe with the idea that we mentioned before, playing knight Golf 4 and preparing Echo 5, but white has already placed a queen on Echo 2. So that is a very important difference. White goes on to play knight to Echo 5. Knight to Echo 5. So that now white occupies Echo 5 with the knight instead of the bishop. This has many advantages. It makes it possible for white to stop black's knight from jumping to Golf 4. It also, if we continue with a move like rook alpha to Echo 1, then white would threaten to capture on Delta 7 and continue with queen takes Echo 6, winning a pawn. Other things that knight to Echo 5 could allow is that white could advance the pawns on the king side, maybe both Foxtrot 4, and after such a move, ideas like rook Foxtrot 3, then rook Hotel 3, for example, would be interesting. So white could launch a king side attack. So knight Echo 5, black continues with bishop Echo 8. That is protecting against the threat knight takes Delta 7 in the future. White continues with rook alpha to Echo 1, completing development, very much resembling Steinitz treatment of the position in the previous video. Black plays, bishop takes echo 5. That is not the best move. I will not go into all details, but now black gives up the bishop pair, and white plays bishop takes echo 5 as well. So now white has a dark square advantage that is even more significant than before. And the lack of the black square bishop in a way makes the bad quality of the white square bishop on echo 8 even more, it becomes even a bigger problem. If you have such a bad bishop and you don't have your relatively good bishop there anymore. Black plays queen to Charlie 6. Queen to Charlie 6. Now the question is, what should you do with your advantage? You have a center advantage. That is the question that Nimzowitsch asks us in my system. And the question is really valid, because I think that it's not only me who experiences that when you get a position that you think is now that you have a clear advantage, but you don't really know what to do about how to use it, how to actually exploit it. But here we can say that if you control the center, you usually should combine this control with an attack on the flank. And obviously, all white's pieces are hitting on the king side, down to hotel 7 and golf 7, for example. I mean, even the queen's rook is now on the king side on echo 1. So black continues with bishop to delta 4 first, threatening on echo 6. Black protects with bishop to delta 7, and white now puts more pressure to hotel 7 by queen to Charlie 2. Queen to Charlie 2, exclamation mark, given that move. It also gives white the possibility to mobilize the rook on echo 1. It can go to echo 3 and then be transferred to the king side. I'm aware of that there are other ways of handling the position that the modern chess engines suggest, but I think the handling of it that Nimzowitsch employed is good enough, and it is easy to understand. Sometimes you can be too precise trying to imitate the engines, but then if you don't understand what you are doing, you can easily lose track. So it's better to have a kind of narration, a story about the position that is good enough for you to find reasonably good moves, than just playing move by move without a plan. So don't always copy what the engines do. Just copy when you understand why they do it. Otherwise, you risk to make a fool of yourself. So now we have the threat that bishop can capture on foxtrot 6, which would leave hotel 7 pawn unprotected. Black plays rook foxtrot 7, so that if white captures on foxtrot 6 now with the bishop, black can recapture with golf 7 pawn, and the rook on foxtrot 7 would then protect hotel 7. So black played rook to foxtrot 7 in order to protect hotel 7, but maybe if all the stars would stand in the best position on the firmament, maybe the rook from Charlie 8 could eventually come to Foxtrot 8 and black could do something active in the future. This is probably just a dream, but who doesn't have needs or for dreams in a bad position? White proceeds with rook to echo 3. Rook from echo 1 to echo 3, according to the idea to mobilize. You can go to golf 3 or to hotel 3. Be a bit watchful of putting the rook on hotel 3, nevertheless, because black could then play echo 5 with a discover attack on the rook on hotel 3 with the bishop on delta 7. So don't allow black that. If the pawn suddenly would move from echo 6 to echo 5 and then proceed to echo 4, for example, then the position would be far more unclear suddenly. So yeah, be on your guard for that thing. Rook to echo 3, white played. Black plays pawn to bravo 6. Yeah, why not? Protecting the alpha 7 pawn, if that would be needed in the future, can't be a bad thing to do. And trying to control Charlie 5 square a little bit. And white plays rook to golf 3. White plays rook to golf 3. And now the threat is here that now after bishop takes foxtrot 6, black can't recapture with golf 7 because that is pinned in front of the king on hotel 8. So that means that rook to golf 3 also makes the threat to hotel 7 even more critical. Black continues with king to hotel 8. And yeah, here you can take a little bit of thinking. Take a pause and think for yourself, what would you do in this position? So take a little while to think of it. White, in an elegant way, exploits the better coordination between his pieces, sacrificing a piece, it looks like, by playing bishop takes hotel 7, exclamation mark. And the idea here is that if black would recapture with the knight on hotel 7, then white jumps in with the queen to golf 6, adding additional pressure to golf 7, which would be decisive, at the same time attacking the rook on foxtrot 7. And black can't in a good way handle both those threats. So we can see such things, such opportunities often pop up when you have better coordination of your pieces. When they stand in good position, the opportunity will suddenly pop up. You just have to be aware of, you must just be looking for them. So instead, black eventually tries to freeze his position by playing pawn to echo 5. Not a bad thing to do, but it is too late. The position is clearly lost for black, and we go through the last move a little bit quicker because the purpose of our discussion has already been achieved. White plays bishop to golf 6, threatening the rook on foxtrot 7. Black plays rook to echo 7. Rook to echo 7. White goes on to play rook to echo 1, pinning the pawn on echo 5. So because the rook on echo 7 is unprotected, black cannot capture echo takes delta 4. Therefore, black protects both echo 5 and echo 7 by queen delta 6. Queen to delta 6. White continues with the bishop to echo 3. So now the bishop also aims at getting to golf 5, pinning the knight on foxtrot 6, and simply continuing pressuring the black's king position. And the pawns in the center might look strong, but if black's coordination is disturbed, then they can turn from strengths to weaknesses. Black plays delta 4. Delta 4. It is not a bad thing to do. Black plays good. He was one of the better players in the world at that time. That he loses so horribly depends on that Nimzowitsch used at that time a completely new concept to understanding the positions. White goes on playing bishop to golf 5, as we already hinted on, and that also protects the Charlie 3 pawn, because that was threatened by the pawn on delta 4 and the rook on Charlie 8. But now the third rank is again free, so the rook on golf 3 now also protects Charlie 3. Black plays rook takes Charlie 3. White goes on recapturing. Rook takes Charlie 3. Black plays delta takes Charlie 3. And white plays queen takes Charlie 3. So now the smoke on the battlefield has cleared a bit, and we have a position where simply white is a clear pawn up. Moreover, the black pawn structure is weaker than white's. The black pawns are on what we call free pawn islands. Alpha 7, Bravo 6 is 1, Echo 5 is 1 on its own, as well as Golf 6, Golf 7. White has a pawn island from Hotel to Foxtrot 2, H, G, and F pawns, and another on Alpha and Bravo pawns. They can be connected, which we will see in a minute. And it is often better to have fewer pawn islands, because if you have fewer pawn islands, your pieces can be more free to do other things than having to protect the pawns. So your position with many pawn islands often gets more passive. Black now play king, Golf 8. Natural move, because the king was more vulnerable on the half-open h-file. And white plays Alpha 3, making the pawn structure even more harmonious. Black goes on with king Foxtrot 8, activating the king, which is as rule of thumb a good thing to do in the ending, although it is not that relevant here. White plays bishop to Hotel 4, and from Hotel 4 the bishop can also retreat to Golf 3, for example, exerting more pressure on the e-file. Black plays bishop to Echo 8, asking for an exchange of the light squared bishops. White plays bishop to Foxtrot 5, Yeah, I'm not sure if it would have been bad to exchange bishops, but yeah, keeping it, there's nothing wrong with it either. Black plays queen delta 4, which is almost synonymous with resignation, because now we see what the exchange of pieces will result in. White plays, yeah, I put a mark here also. So, white plays queen takes queen on delta 4. Black plays echo takes delta 4. And we see that this was maybe already planned when Black protected his rook on echo 7 with the king on foxtrot 8. But this is not a concept that will do much good to Black. On the contrary, White captures on echo 7, rook takes echo 7. Black captures, king takes echo 7. White goes on and blocks the pawn on delta 4 by bishop delta 3. Bishop delta 3. So the pawn is now blockaded nicely. Black plays king delta 6. And this is a little blunder, although the game was already lost. Because now White has the opportunity of very easily creating an outside passed pawn. We will see what I mean in a second. White plays bishop takes foxtrot 6. Normally you don't want to give up the two bishops in an open position, they are very good, but here we get another distinct advantage. Black plays golf takes foxtrot 6. White centralizes the king a bit, king foxtrot 1, king to foxtrot 1, and Black plays bishop to Charlie 6. What has White gained, you may ask, and you will be told by the next move. Pawn to hotel 4, pawn to hotel 4, and Black resigned. White has an outside passed pawn, very difficult to be stopped, and yeah, White has the majority, 3-1 on the king's side also, and the d4 pawn, the weakness of it will be even more felt if Black has to go to the king's side, trying to stop the white h pawn. Then other weaknesses will be felt even more. One often says that one weakness is not enough. If you should win, you should try to create other weaknesses. But here, yeah, Black is down a pawn, and White has a fantastic pass pawn on the h-file, and the delta 4 pawn is also weak. One can also say that the foxtrot 6 pawn can also be felt weak, and White has the opportunity to create a pawn majority, not 3-1, but 2-0 on the king's side. So that Black resigned is more than understandable. So this is the second part of the overprotection series. I hope you have learned something, and I would be very happy if you subscribe to the channel, liked the video, and also if you have advice for me in order to improve the quality of my presentations or other things, please feel free to tell in the comment field. Thank you for right now.